Most people assume whole grain bread automatically destroys white bread nutritionally. But when you actually measure that assumption side by side, the results get weird.
What about red meat?
What about fruit?
What about fat?
What about carbs?
Run it through the lab. Welcome to the Nutragrammatron Lab, this versus that edition. Wonder Bread white versus Dave's Killer Bread whole grain. Let's start with Wonder Bread. Per 100 calories, it has 3.57 grams of protein, 20.71 grams of carbohydrates, 1.07 grams of fat, 2.14 grams of fiber, and 128.57 milligrams of sodium. Micronutrients: thiamine, 29% of your daily value, calcium, 25%, folate, 18%, vitamin D, 14% of your daily value. The macrogram index is 15 out of 20. Protein is moderate, fat is low, but refined carbohydrate structure pulls it down. The microgram index is 14 out of 20. Fortification heavily boosts the micronutrient score with added B vitamins and minerals. The fibrogram index is 12 out of 20. Fiber is decent for a white bread, but still moderate overall. The sodiogram index is 12 out of 20. Processing and sodium receive a penalty and reduce the score. The glycogram index is 12 out of 20. Refined flour and added sugar both create penalties. That leaves Wonder Bread white with a final Nutragrammatron score of 65. This places this subject in the moderate tier classification. Now Dave's Killer Bread whole grain. Per 100 calories, it has 4.55 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbohydrates, 1.36 grams of fat, 4.55 grams of fiber, and 154.55 milligrams of sodium. Micronutrients: fiber reaches around 15% of your daily value, but meaningful vitamin and mineral density is actually limited compared to the fortified white bread. The macrogram index comes in at 17 out of 20. Higher protein and better fiber structure improve macro balance. The microgram index is 6 out of 20. Despite the healthy image, micronutrient density is surprisingly limited. The fibrogram index is 16 out of 20. Fiber is the major advantage here. The sodiogram index is 8 out of 20. Higher sodium and processing reduce the score substantially. The glycogram index is 16 out of 20. Whole grain structure performs better than refined white bread, even with added sugar present. That leaves Dave's Killer Bread with a final Nutragrammatron score of 63. This places this subject in the moderate tier classification. So technically, Wonder Bread wins, but this is where nutrition gets strange. Wonder Bread is heavily fortified with synthetic vitamins and minerals added back in during processing. That fortification massively boosts the micronutrient score, even though the bread itself is made from refined flour. Meanwhile, Dave's Killer Bread has better fiber, better carbohydrate structure, and slightly better protein balance. But because it relies more on its natural nutrient profile instead of synthetic fortification, the micronutrient score ends up much lower. This is one of the biggest problems with simplistic nutrition advice. People hear processed and assume automatically bad. People hear whole grain and assume automatically healthy. But processing can sometimes artificially increase measurable nutrient density through enrichment and fortification. The problem is that nutrient numbers alone don't always tell the entire biological story. Refined flour, added sugars, sodium, food structure, digestion speed, satiety, and processing methods all still matter. And that's why food analysis gets complicated. because at some point you still have to apply common sense and intuition when interpreting fortified foods. A product can score well numerically because nutrients were added back in artificially, while still lacking the structural qualities people usually associate with truly nutrient-dense foods. Measured, not assumed. This has been the Nutragrammatron Lab. Structured evaluation, transparent criteria, consistent analysis. Classification complete.